Senpai. What's up, Senpai? Senpai. Senpai. Like Senpai. Senpai is Senpai. Senpai is Senpai. Senpai.
Back in February of last year, I ranked and reviewed over 20 different romance anime that I watched within the past 2 months. It was a harmless and enjoyable experience because I got to talk about one of my favorite genres of anime in of itself. Although, there was one in particular that I loathed so much. One that I despised on a level that no one has probably ever done before. Now don't get me wrong, there are some absolute stinkers out there. And the ones that I ranked very low in that video, at least were a fun or entertaining kind of bad. With them, I got to talk about some, or even the tiniest bit of crumb of enjoyment from each of them. But with this, the show that I ranked very last place, and a piece of media that I consider to be my absolute least favorite show of all time. And that is, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. This abhorrent abomination of what you call a show is by all means so painfully paced, directed, written, and just downright terrible in general. I have never seen something quite this bad in my entire life, and today, I felt like it was finally time to discuss my true feelings about it. Ones that I feel like I didn't truly elaborate enough in my initial video. You could say I lost my cool there a bit. Oh my god, this series is so bad, I hate it. It's actually insane. I'm gonna go sit in the corner and really reflect on my decisions about this stupid show. 1 out of 10. You. But to that I say, I am completely justified. And today's video will be no different, as I will analyze every single episode of this pile of ass and truly understand the root of my hatred for it as a whole. But to give you guys a bit of history before we unfortunately dive in, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro is a 2021 romantic comedy anime series about a quiet, introverted high school boy named Senpai, who is relentlessly tortured by a sadistic but secretly affectionate underclassman, Hayase Nagatoro. And you know, with a synopsis like that, we're in for a real treat today, kiddos! The show follows their unique relationship as her teasing evolves from pure torment into a form of flirtation and friendship, exploring themes of self-discovery and youthful romance through comedy and heartwarming moments. Typically, before I watch a show, I have to be in the mood for it most of the time. And with this, I went into it completely blind. Although, I did have this strange gut feeling that it was not going to be enjoyable. So I tried to prove myself wrong, and I instantly witnessed absolute hell within the first few minutes of episode 1. Now wait a second, Kieran, that was only episode 1. Maybe it will get better. Okay, that's a fair thought. But my response to that is, it did not get better. Matter of fact, but it somehow got worse throughout each adventure that these stupid ass characters have in their high school. I have never had a show make me feel actual physical pain before, but this was the first to do it. So, congratulations show, you did it! And yes, while this does infuriate me to a level I've never been at before, I also do see the gaps that could have been filled with actual good story elements and themes. The show's plot on Google says that it explores themes of self-discovery and friendship, which it does not. But I felt like it had a clear vision that it could have told, but it just decided not to for some reason. I know this is derived from the manga, but let me make my case by the end of the video. I genuinely wanted this show to be really good, but it just let me down in every possible way. And you're about to witness a man go through absolute hell once more. So without wasting any time possible, and just so I can get this shit done sooner, let's open up Pandora's box and uncover this show's many issues, beginning with... So the show begins with some shots of birds, whatever these things are, an ocean, and a little crowd walking across the beach. And don't worry, if you thought this show was going to be a beautifully animated masterpiece, oh no my friend, you cannot be more wrong. We then even get more landscape shots, and man, like, all of this is just making me wish I was watching an anime about animals. Anyone actually know a show like that? One with just still shots of animals for 23 minutes each? Man, that's sounding so much better right now, not gonna lie. The scene then overlaps with a group of girls laughing and talking to a boy with glasses stepping into a room that they're in. He goes to sit down and instantly whines about his quiet study time being ruined by the girls at the table. And I'm sorry, but like, you're telling me you can't just go to another room entirely? What is stopping you from moving at all, bro? After some awful dialogue from the girls, they catch Senpai staring at them, which makes him divert his eyes away from them in a panic. After one of the girls gets up and goes to retrieve a book, this dude knocks his bag over and spills his papers everywhere. They instantly instantly pick up the books and begin making fun of him, with one of them even making a One Piece reference. I can't wait for how this show's comedic bits will be handled. The rest of the girls leave the room and Nagatoro sits herself down and just somehow knows that Senpai is a second year and she's a first year, so that would make him her senpai, because that totally isn't creepy at all to say to a complete stranger upon meeting them. Oh yeah, for the remainder of this video, I will be calling Senpai by his dubbed name. I know his actual name is like Naoto or something, but I really don't care all that much. Nagatoro begins to yap about his little manga that he has and immediately begins saying that the main character is pretty much a self-insert of Senpai, and like, she's not wrong, but also again, what is stopping you from grabbing your shit and walking away? I genuinely do not get that at all. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So Nagatoro just completely takes hold of the situation and pretends that she's the swordsman from his manga thingy, and he's just sitting there watching. Senpai starts to get flustered and turns his eyes away from her in pure embarrassment, while Nagatoro constantly tries to get in his field of vision again in this very awkward scene. Like, dude, what are we doing? On the flip side, you could say that Senpai should just grow a pair and walk out and completely ignore her and then go about his day. But then there's that side of me where I should feel bad for how this deranged lunatic of a person is tormenting him for literally no reason at all. After Senpai begins to cry, she hands him a little cloth to wipe his tears, and she apologizes for harassing him just a second ago. I remember pointing out in my ranking video that Nagatoro doesn't apologize once for her constant behavior towards him, and there I'm still completely right thus far, because in this instance, she doesn't actually mean it at all. Obviously. And I feel like this was obvious considering this shit runs for another 23 episodes. Oh my god, this is going to make me go insane, you guys, please help! And I haven't even gotten to the more awful stuff that happens later on in the show. Yes, it somehow gets worse than this. Dear god, why did I do this to myself? So after no sleep that night, Senpai is at school, to which he gives the cloth back to Nagatoro, who is once again here to bug him, after she so genuinely apologized for her actions yesterday. Senpai then heads into the art room, a frequent location that this show will use a lot, where he sits down and tries to cool off, but Nagatoro busts her way inside without his permission at all and just starts snooping around the room. When her attention span of 3 seconds wraps up, she brings a chair over and decides to make herself a model for him to draw, because that's Senpai's whole shtick, is that he can draw really good. What a wonderful character trait that totally doesn't get boring or anything. After she begins to unbutton her shirt, Senpai freaks out and draws the line there, because if straight up torment wasn't enough to break this guy, I guess sexual harassment is where this fucking dweeb draws the line. Also, dear fucking god, but why is your pencil sharpened so extremely long? It's like you're asking for that shit to break. So he gets the stupid drawing done and it looks super good and Nagatoro likes it and stuff, and then she asks him to close his eyes for a reward that she promised him. He closes his eyes thinking he's about to get his first kiss, but she flicks him on the head and then begins laughing at him maniacally. But big fucking shocker, she was actually lying and saying that the drawing of her was good, but it's actually so bad. Wow, who could have seen that coming, guys? I can't believe it! And like, I get it, she's a complete psychopath and all, but the drawing is literally a one-to-one recreation of her. It's not bad in the slightest. She is literally just doing this for the hell of it. It's so questionable to make a character's entire personality like this. So unlikable and just so irritating. I just don't understand! After some more harassment, she brushes off this whiny fucking baby's tears and apologizes once more. Yeah, dude, I'm sure she means that. She'll be back to a regularly scheduled broadcast starting tomorrow at... Wait, what time does school begin in Japan? Ah, okay. God, if I had to deal with this shit at 8:30 in the morning, I would actually lose it. But I'm already starting to right now, so it really doesn't matter. When she gets done wiping his tears, she asks him if he'll finally stop crying. Like, bitch, you made him this way! So it turns out they take the same route back home, and once again, she's bugging him. And just when it seems like Senpai is starting to actually become self-aware, Nagatoro asks him out on a date. And this dude drops his bag in pure disbelief. And guess what the next thing she does? Oop, you guessed it! She was just joking for shits and giggles, until she somehow gained the strength to push him all the way down into a river below. Senpai then somehow, without any effort or struggle, just pulls himself up from down below. How was he able to do that? There's no ramps or edges he can cling on to, and that sure as hell doesn't look shallow enough to just effortlessly climb up. Okay. So then Senpai reveals his lame-ass backstory that I could give 2 craps about, until he admits to Nagatoro that he doesn't mind her bullying because he's already used to it. Dude, why am I watching a bully fetish? This is actually getting on my nerves. Dear God, help me. The episode finally ends with Nagatoro letting him know that she can call him by her last name. And show, please quit this sad and heartfelt music. It is genuinely getting on my nerves. Stop trying to make this connection between them work, because it sure as hell isn't working to convince me that they should be a romantic couple. So today in Senpai's world, he's drawing a jar and enjoying himself until nobody's favorite joins in while hula hooping. I'm not even going to explain what happens because I don't want to get age restricted, nor do I want to subject you poor people to this stupid fucking show and its awful attempts at humor. And if you thought every episode was going to be different like how every other show is, like normal shows, then you're greatly mistaken, my friend. Nagatoro is too cool for that, silly. But I'm not joking, this is the actual basis for how every single goddamn episode is from here. Senpai is doing something, Nagatoro will come in and ruin his time, rinse and repeat. So it's suddenly dark outside and Senpai's just sipping noodles in the dark. When the coast is clear, he pulls out a manga titled... Yeah, I'm not even going to read that off. I genuinely do not know how to feel about Senpai as a character. Not about how I feel about him overall. He's so poorly written, just like every other character in this show. Which, by the way, this show has other characters? I know, shocking! But I mean with him is that him getting tormented by Nagatoro is sometimes I feel bad for him, but then you have moments like this when you're literally just asking for it. Nagatoro comes into the art room and he offers his leftovers to her because he ate without her. She rejects this and says this is why he's still single. Good lord, God forbid this guy tries to be nice to you, especially after the hell you have put him through thus far. But who am I kidding? When someone is nice to the great Hayase Nagatoro, she will do anything but give it back to you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but her observing that all of his food is gone already proves that they've eaten together, which means they would be friends. I don't even care, man. Nagatoro continues to make fun of him because the show only has one singular joke and then pretends that she's a vampire and tries to bite his neck. He tries to get her off and oh my god, but she's on top of him now. I wonder how the show will play up this moment and dear god, but she grabs his area. How are people fans of this shit, by the way? Anyway, they head outside, a location from the last episode. She toys with him by touching him once more, because sexual harassment is funny apparently. After this, she runs away, giggling and saying bye-bye to him. I'm not even going to talk about what Senpai does in his room that night, because again, I don't want this video to possibly get age restricted, and I do want to have some kind of benefit for making a video on this show. The second half of the episode involves Senpai drawing once more, in the art room. Does this show only have two primary locations? Nagatoro stumbles in on him and asks him if he wants to play a game. I'm not even going to say the name of it, but if you want to know more, by all means, look it up on your own time. Nagatoro then gets a message from her friend, and then she nopes out of there. Oh my god, she's gone, now I can finally be at peace! We then head over to this little restaurant where Senpai narrates that this is one of his favorite spots to chill at, where he can work on his little Gunner manga. Just then, however, two guys, Nagatoro and her friend, that I don't care to name right now, walk inside because of course that has to happen. And of course, but the two dudes sitting there are huge creeps. Wow, how subversive. Senpai watches from afar, hoping Nagatoro will give them the same treatment as she does to him. But of course, this show has her be an actual normal person for once and just kind of shuts the guys down. And oh my god, but this dialogue is so awful, it hurts. Please make it stop. So then Senpai is walking back home until guess who stops by? Yep, it's Nagatoro! She bonks him on the head and what? She's being nice to him? Yep, there it is. The episode then ends with her bonking his head, and I will give the episode credit for this. At least its second half didn't make me feel like I was in a coma, so that's fun. The first half is so painful and random, but then we get a more relaxed version of what this show clearly should have been. But it only gets worse from here, so next episode. So it begins in the art room again, and it's nice and sunny out. Senpai is drawing as usual, and everything seems great. Episode ruined. Pack it up, guys. She asks him if she would like to model for him until she reveals that she has a swimsuit on and it makes Senpai get all red and stuff. Typical rom-com elements. What's new? So it's raining and they're both running to not get soaked anymore, and they both waited out at a little rest spot. Nagatoro then realizes her uniform is a little see-through, so she does her typical thing by messing with him, but this time, oh no, don't worry, this time, Senpai is gonna be a big boy and not look at her at all. A massive gust of wind then blows over them, which prompts Senpai to ask if she's okay from that little gust of wind that proved no danger to them whatsoever. How is it only episode 3, man? She then begins to sneeze, with Senpai assuming that she has a cold. I thought this guy was like super smart or something. You don't get a cold from cold weather. That's not how it works. And I'm assuming he hasn't heard of what a regular sneeze is. You know, if you wanted to show a person getting sick instantly, you could have shown them coughing repeatedly or something. I don't know how this relates to the current context, but let me just get a few moments of pleasure away from this garbage. So Nagatoro brings Senpai over to her house and to wait out the rain further. This prompts Senpai to think of what her parents are possibly like, and somehow know, even in a little thought bubble, whatever, he gets teased. More shenanigans happen in her house until a big misunderstanding time happens, in which Senpai mistakes Nagatoro asking to go for a few rounds while they're alone in her room together. But in actuality, it's a video game she was talking about. But of course the show is talking about that. Nagatoro is more subversive than that, silly. They then play rounds of the game, but Nagatoro makes it clear that she's never played the game before, and she starts to get pissy about it. Senpai then thinks to himself and says, "Wait, this is actually similar to what she's been doing to me already this entire time." Which, like, no it doesn't. Not by a mile. But if you want to think that, then sure, man. Nagatoro is seen getting more frustrated that something isn't going her way, and then he gloats to himself until she makes a noise in his ear that causes him to mess up, then making her win the game. Therefore, ruining any possible chance of this dude ever getting the upper hand on her, because this show doesn't know how to write a single cohesive and convincing character moment. Whenever something is going right in this dude's life, the show thinks it's being funny by getting the tables turned on him in an instant. That's not humor, that's literally just torture. Good God, I hate the character design. Like, seriously, I hate this face so much. Get it off my screen! One of the biggest complaints that I will bring up later is how the show pretends that certain character moments are going to develop later on. Like, this entire scene eventually fades into a montage of them having fun together. But then you know in the next episode, or hell, even minute, everything is just going to go back to the same old shit like before. I hate how this show pretends that character growth is actually there when it's literally not. The same fucking humor goes on for the rest of the goddamn show. Like, isn't this a romance anime? You know? A genre of anime where character relationships are supposed to develop and grow as time goes on? But who am I kidding? God forbid I seek the tiniest bit of character development in this stinking pile of fucking shit. So Senpai and Nagatoro wish each other bye, and it's the end of the episode. Yay! Oh, never mind. It's only the first half. Oh, okay. So if you guys saw, I put in the episode's title that the worst character of the show gets introduced. Well, Senpai is looking around for a spot to sit at lunch until Nagatoro waves her hand in his direction. He hesitates, but then sits down with two of her friends, Yoshi and Gamo. Now everyone, I really want you to guess and see which one of these two characters I absolutely hate the most. Because besides literally every other character in the show, I'll give you 10 seconds to guess which is my absolute least favorite. Alright, time's up. If you said Yoshi, wait, not that Yoshi, this Yoshi, then you're wrong. My absolute least favorite character in this entire show is Gamo. I'm not even going to say in detail why, I'll just let my future self do all of the talking. Anyway, Yoshi asks Nagatoro if Senpai is her boyfriend, and then she responds with, "Yeah, we're definitely taking it easy, aren't we, Senpai? Senpai is clearly a virgin and has a side chick." Christ on a fucking stick, this dialogue is so awful! So Yoshi puts her hand on Senpai, and we get a new reoccurring joke that the show will totally not beat into the ground, where every time a girl lays herself or gets close to Senpai, Nagatoro will get mad and jealous. Whoa, so scary, you guys. So then Gamo says that she doesn't think Senpai is a pet to Nagatoro, but rather a bug, and then asks why a man would let his woman walk all over him. Whoa guys, watch out. This show is so self-aware. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we have the shittiest writing ever known to man, but if we're so self-aware about it, that means we're in the clear. Oh, this show, man. I tell you, this show. We then cut to Nagatoro trying to teach Senpai how to defend himself, and low-key, this scene is kinda wholesome. Until, yep, there it is. She's calling him a creep again. Okay. And I'm sorry, but I'm all in for character drama and all, but him crying over the most elementary school insult is, like, actually absurd. Again, I know that he was bullied as a kid, but the show never bothers to explore that further, and we're just subjected to his fun times with Nagatoro. Once again, I ask myself this, and Senpai, why don't you just walk out of the room and go about your goddamn day? I am this close to losing my fucking mind!
Hey, hello, Zen Master. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was only wanting to seek your enlightenment, that's all.
What do you seek?
Yes, Zen Master. So here's the problem, okay? Lately, I've been very bored, and I was wondering if you could call onto the universe and give me something that is worse to worry about than just to wait for rice to cook on my rice cooker, because quite frankly, this is very boring, okay? I want my life to be so much more intense, you know? I want adventure.
You must throw the burden away and leave the rice behind.
You want me to throw away my rice cooker? Yes. But Master, this is preposterous.
Come, meditate with me.
Okay. Alright, I'll join you.
Focus.
Fine, I'll put it down.
Now release all the sounds that are trapped in your mind.
Oh God, where was I? Oh yeah, Nagatoro. Yeah, great. Yep, typical bad episode per usual. Alright, what do we got? Senpai is practicing oil painting and Nagatoro greets him like usual. She then makes a strange comment about him, to which he gets really flustered about it. She then grabs his hands and rubs them really hard, and I shouldn't even have to tell you what the joke is here, even my goddamn toilet could guess. Senpai is then shown to be eating in the art room, again, because the show only has one fucking location at its disposal, and then is greeted by Gamo and Yoshi, nobody's favorites. They then intrude with Senpai, even mentioning that this is his art room and that they just can't barge into here, but they have no common sense, so they would just do it anyway. Okay. The two fuckwads then have Senpai do something that I will not mention just for the sake of me, once again, not getting age restricted, but I will say it's just more sexual harassment. How funny. I am actively laughing my ass off right now at that one. Truly, great job, show. Nagatoro then comes in on them and they both run away in a Tom and Jerry ass getaway. Nagatoro then chastises Senpai for finally being able to do something for once in his life, and dear God, this woman is the literal embodiment of Satan. She cannot support someone alone, let alone this random kid she met like a few days ago. The second half of the episode involves Nagatoro and Senpai watching a baseball game with what seems like a crowd cheering in the background, even though, like, where is the crowd? Are you trying to tell me that this many people gather to a high school baseball game in the middle of the fucking day? Senpai then talks about wanting praise from the people around him, with him even saying that he has no talent to praise, even though he is an artist that can draw really good. That makes sense. Nagatoro then practices with Senpai, asking him to compliment her. He then analyzes her and says that she's actually kinda cute, and then goes on about her legs. But he stops himself and goes, "If I were to talk about her legs, that would be sexual harassment." Jesus Christ, I am at my fucking limit with this show. I'm not only questioning why that's not your first, but your second thought, but this dude has finally acknowledged sexual harassment, which is the literal thing this fucking Hellspawn has been doing to you in the show thus far. I do not know how much more I can take of this show's awful writing. It genuinely feels like they stuck a person with short-term memory loss in the writer's room and asked him to write the goddamn screenplay. So Nagatoro falls asleep after making fun of him some more, and then Senpai begins to draw her, because that isn't creepy at all. He soon completes it, and then she sees it and does a fake out kiss, and then burns the drawing because of how ungrateful she is. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's too hard for Nagatoro to do. Oh wait, but then she says that she likes it. That means she's so genuine because of the change in her voice. Wow, man, so cool and romantic. I swear this show only knows how to begin each episode with the same thing. It's actually getting exhausting. So Nagatoro makes the same comments about Senpai, but he ignores her. Whew, about time. Gamo and Yoshi then show up and says that he's not actually a gross guy, and then he walks out with both of them, leaving Nagatoro. I'm not joking, you guys, but I actually laughed and pointed at Nagatoro in pure victory for Senpai here. Finally, something different happens for once. But then it turns out it was all a dream. Okay. But she still got humiliated in some way, shape, or form, so I'm happy. She then asks him if he was the one who put the cloth on her while she was sleeping, and he goes,
"Well, I didn't want you, catching a cold, that's all."
In the middle of a hot day. Listen, I get that Senpai isn't the sharpest crayon in the box, but dear fucking God, how inconsistent is this show? Hey writers, if you wanted to show that the room was cold, you could have shown this! It also doesn't make any goddamn sense because it is literally hot outside. Presumably that it's spring or summer. Crickets don't chirp in the cold weather either, so I genuinely don't know the act of kindness that can be applied here. Make it make sense for the love of God! More antics ensue until Nagatoro gets the very bright idea to shear Senpai after seeing a cute video of a sheep getting sheared. She then pulls out a razor and Senpai tells her no, so then she pulls out the comb and scissors. Her phone then rings from her pocket and then heads on down to where Gamo's location is. But it turns out that she was faking it, and now both her and Yoshi are snooping around the classroom. Yoshi finds the razor and Senpai says that's Nagatoro's and that he's planning on getting his haircut later. So Senpai made a comment about the razor, implying that that was the tool Nagatoro was going to use, even though they came to an agreement to not use it, which would have possibly prevented them from getting any ideas. They soon hold him down and he screams out, "No, I want Nagatoro to cut it. I made a promise!" After all of that bullying and harassment, and this dude is begging for her on his knees. This show is so fucking ass. So the second half involves Nagatoro and Senpai both walking dehydrated and exhausted from the heat. Oh my god! This is the episode where they die of dehydration? Yes! They then decide to get some frosted ice together, and man, moments like these, especially from the end of the first half of the episode, really makes me wish they had some form of a unique dynamic. The one they have is not a regular one, but a dynamic that's extremely one-sided on Nagatoro's behalf. I feel like the bullying concept could have worked if they had Senpai actually fire back with some creative insults, rather than just taking it. Nagatoro would then have to try and one-up him, and then for Senpai to do the exact same thing. Would it fix the show's problems? Oh dear god, no, but it's something of a start. The two walk back after a failed attempt at getting the frosted ice, but then she takes Senpai's drink and chugs a bit of it and then gives it back to him, thanking him. Even though you took it out of his hands. Okay. She then asks him if he wants to exchange contact information, which like, no. They do eventually exchange contact information though, and she even made stickers that call Senpai a perv. I'm writing this at like 1 in the morning, guys. I really want to get to bed. Actually, I might just do that. Hold up.
Yeah, no, I have to finish this video. I can't.
Alright, what do we got with this one? Senpai is having a dream of some sorts where he wakes up in the land of Nagatoro. How creative of a name is that? So Senpai falls from the clouds and falls to his death. Yes! Finally! Aw, man, he lived. Nagatoro then shows up as a cat, and then there's this stupid montage of them doing stuff together, such as eating, fighting, and so on and so forth. I really do not care. It's crazy how I'm rooting for this dragon thing to win against Nagatoro. That way I can be spared from this absolute nightmare. And maybe I'm dreaming too, and this is all not real. This show is making me go insane, you guys.
Who knew there was such a nice spa next to the temple, huh? Well, it's time to check on my rice. Oh, let's see. Yeah, still not done. Well, next stop, massage parlor. Alright, you can go ahead. Yeah, I got a knot on my shoulder, I know. Yeah, I want you to loosen it, yes. Wait, what are you doing? What are you... Ah! Oh my... Yeah, I'm okay. Oh, wait, hang on, my rice. Still not done. My rice is finally done.
Gamo reveals that she was the dragon thing, which I instantly take back my comment about rooting for her in the fight against Nagatoro. Yoshi then comes out of an egg, totally not referencing a green dinosaur that does the same thing in a certain game that involves two plumber bros. Hey show, you know the whole point of a reference is to not have your characters explicitly explain what they're referencing? You know? The girls that then all reveal themselves to be the Demon Lord, and it's just fan service hell. Dear Lord, kill me. The second half of the episode begins with an air conditioner. Hey wait, so they'll show it here, but not in this scene where Senpai put a cloth on Nagatoro while she was sleeping? So it's revealed that summer break is about to end, a thing that literally lasted for no time whatsoever. What an amazing and well-paced arc that didn't go anywhere, nor did it have any crucial character moments. Wait, actually, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, honestly. No, but for real though, this show didn't spend any time during the climactic promise of Nagatoro and Senpai exchanging contact information for summer break. The show promises something intriguing, but instead I get nothing. That's the basis for literally everything. Anytime you expect something actually huge to happen, the show just flushes it down the drain and just forgets about it entirely. Now, would I want more moments with these characters? Oh dear god, no, not by a long shot. If these characters were at least mildly engaging, then maybe. And it's not helped because this cast has the worst cast of characters I have ever seen. I stated in my ranking video that something cool that the show could have done was with Yoshi and Gamo being counters to Nagatoro's bullying, and a way of helping out Senpai overcome his internal struggles. That would have made for some fun interactions and actual growth and development as characters, something this show clearly does not know how to do. How do you mess up that sort of thing, especially in a rom-com? The genre is literally built off of character relationships. Wait, what scene am I at again? Oh dear god. So they all arrive at the beach with a totally not reused shot of a crab walking across the sand in episode 1. So after some taunting, Senpai goes to grab a drink with Gamo and Yoshi insisting that they want a drink as well, and even Nagatoro for that matter. And instead of actually saying no, he just agrees and heads out to grab one for them. Despite them making your life a living hell, he just decides to grab them water. Even though you don't know them that well, they still did bad things to you, and he just walks it off every time like it wasn't something huge at all. Anyway, so Nagatoro and Gamo have a swimming competition, and I don't know if Yoshi is just dumb, but when she counts down and tells them to swim, they're already almost done swimming. The whole point of a race is to count down at the beginning. Have we learned nothing from Lakitu? Nagatoro then tells Senpai that she's going to put sunscreen on him, but he refuses, thinking it's something only couples do. Nagatoro then gets genuinely upset because he said what they're doing is not like an actual couple would. Which, like, considering how you treat him, then yeah, I don't blame this kid. I cannot stand how this shit actually thinks she has a valid reason for being the complete asshole she is. Oh, Senpai is not doing what I expected of him, or I'm not getting my way. Fuck you. And oh my god, but this episode ends off with Senpai saying with his full heart that he had fun today at the beach, along with a drawing of Nagatoro. I don't even know anymore, man. So today is the summer festival and Senpai is seen gaming. Okay, cool. He debates taking Nagatoro to the festival and then it just cuts to him there already. Okay. He then decides that he'll make his time worth it by getting something to eat, until a hand reaches from behind and touches his shoulder, and it's Oh dear god, no! Leave me alone! Gamo and Yoshi chase after him until they reach the top of a shrine, and then they put a fucking dog collar on him and send a picture of it to Nagatoro. So like, are all of Nagatoro's friends really friends with her? Like, they've been low-key assholes to her and obviously Senpai for god knows what reason actually. Anyway, Nagatoro rushes over and looks at Senpai with the collar on. Now, I want you to take a wild fucking guess and see how she reacts to Senpai in this current state. Her and Gamo fight for control over him. Some person actually wrote this entire episode and wanted us to take it seriously. Dear God, make it end! They play a shooting game and Gamo gets pissed because she couldn't knock down a bear plush thing with her cheap wooden gun, and Nagatoro gives her the best advice on how to shoot. Nagatoro then asks Senpai if he was thinking of going to the festival with her, and then she knocks down a salt shaker. Congrats, you knocked over the lightest object in the game. Hooray! So they then walk around the festival more, and in the English dub version of this, you can hear people in the background yelling in Japanese. Oh no, show, you better fix this little issue before you cause a riot. So Senpai takes her up this very obvious path to see the fireworks, and instead of having an actual heartfelt moment, Nagatoro makes fun of him yet again. Does this show ever do anything new? So a fake out moment happens, and then Senpai pushes her off the cliffside, and Nagatoro dies, and we all celebrate. Yippee! The final half of the episode involves Senpai walking home, but then stumbles upon Nagatoro and her friends sitting at a bench outside. He makes it clear that he doesn't want to get any closer, but as soon as these two dudes get near him, he sneaks in to listen further. That makes sense. After some more nonsense, him and the girls walk home with the blonde one joining them. I don't care to look up her name, so don't expect me to say anything because I really don't care all that much. In today's series of unfortunate events, Nagatoro trains Senpai on how to gain strength because he's skinny and flimsy. So she sits on his back and he's super weak and stuff, so he falls down after getting discovered by two random girls. Isn't this room only available for him only unless he lets people inside? Why would there just be two random girls stopping by into the room? This is a very well put together show. So Nagatoro forces Senpai into a studying mode, which like, wow, that's the first thing she's done for him that's actually beneficial. When you do something nice or good for someone, or yourself, you get those said good things back in return in some way, shape, or form. Funny how that works. Nagatoro is then seen walking around until she hears something very strange coming from the art room, until it's revealed that they're trying to get his splinter out, because I guess this baby can't get a goddamn splinter out of his finger. And like, judging how large this dude's pencil lead is, yeah, I could see how that would happen. So they play rock, paper, scissors, and who will carry each other's bags, and Senpai seems to win at first, but then Nagatoro gets her way, and soon eventually carries her on his back. After a little incident where Senpai accidentally puts his hand somewhere, Nagatoro runs away, and then he says to himself, I hope I didn't make her mad. I wish I was making this up. This is beyond unbearable, and I am actively waiting until the sweet release of freedom is upon me. Also, not to mention, but Nagatoro makes a big deal out of this considering you actively committed sexual assault back in like, God, episode 1. It's crazy how 100 Girlfriends is better than this shit. So today they're learning on how to box or something. Gamo and friends rush Nagatoro, who's defending Senpai because no one else but her touches Senpai. I'm really tired, you guys. So Senpai walks into his art room with the girls causing chaos, and their reasoning for it was there was simply a group of guys that are taking up their spot and being loud. Gamo then says, you don't get how annoying that is. I say that literally every time you're on screen. But then it turns out that the stupid blonde girl sabotaged the boys in the dining hall, and dear God, this dialogue is so awful, holy shit! So Nagatoro tries to find a book to prove that Senpai is a perv or something, which like, you have been calling him that for the longest time possible. What is the actual goal here? Okay, they're betting on buying each other pancakes. Okay, dude. At first, Senpai denies having a book in the room, but then he just admits to having one. Nagatoro eventually finds another book and completely ruins the entire fucking point of the scene. So Nagatoro then proposes that Senpai gets an ear piercing, and even matching ones. So she pierces his ear, and then it's revealed that she didn't really do it, but in fact just pinched him. Cool. The blonde girl then comes in and asks for Senpai's help about something, to which it's revealed that she has a stalker. So her master plan is to make the stalker believe that Senpai is her boyfriend or something, just so the stalker will stop stalking. So he acts as her boyfriend and they go on a date or something stupid. I don't know. Nagatoro and friends watch them from afar, and Gama points out that Senpai looks like he's in one of those rom-com anime he watches. Oh my god, you guys, they did it. You are watching a romance anime comedy, which makes it funny because we actively acknowledge that we are in a romance anime comedy. Being meta is so funny and never once gets old after the second time you make the joke. It's genuinely insane that I have to point this out, but the blonde girl might be my favorite character because she actually acts like a normal person by asking Senpai if he's uncomfortable on their little date. Now don't get me wrong, me saying that she's my favorite character doesn't mean much considering how many issues I have surrounding the rest of this show, so don't take that to heart. Anyway, Nagatoro catches the stalker, which totally doesn't ruin the tension and build-up. I mean, hooray! Gamo gets mad because she wanted to take photos. Of what exactly? Guys, I have never hated a character more in my life. It's crazy how Senpai hasn't called the police on Nagatoro hitting him. Better yet, in public. This episode sucks. Moving on. So Nagatoro got both of them a hot snack to try. Okay, I like spicy food. Let's see where the show takes it. But Senpai thought it was something else entirely. She then calls him a perv for like the 500th time, and it totally hasn't gotten annoying or anything. They then have a talk about training Senpai into a runner after seeing him perform terribly at a race earlier. And the next day, Nagatoro arrives to get Senpai started on running, with her even saying, "We're a sports anime now." I have never wanted a show to be over with more in my entire life. Why did I do this to myself? So they run and Senpai is tired and stuff. They then stretch and make a Dragon Ball reference. But here, I'm not mad because they don't explicitly mention the show that they're referencing. This is what a reference is. The entire goddamn point of one is to not mention it by name. It's like it's slowly but surely getting better at its humor and— oh god damn it, dude, you just had to ruin it! This show never learns, does it? Yes, they didn't actually say the name, but they said keywords, so it indirectly counts. That's the thing too, like, I really don't get this show's humor, like, at all. There are certain points where the humor is very tame at elementary school levels of comedy, but then you have very questionable and crude jokes that just never clash well together. And no, making obvious references is not funny. So the next day, Senpai is struggling on who should model for him because of the upcoming culture festival. Oh dear god, this show has one of those. I can't wait to see what happens. So Senpai comes out of the closet or something and says he wants to start drawing dudes. Until Nagatoro convinces him to draw her. So Nagatoro dresses up as the cat thing and Senpai draws her, and the blonde girl mentions that she joined the gaming club for the culture festival. Yes, you heard that right. She joined the club with the previously mentioned stalker that she had, and they apparently just made up and they're cool now. Who the fuck wrote this series? Nagatoro then asks Senpai what the art club is doing for the culture festival this year, and what? But we get introduced to a new character? She makes her way into the art room and immediately chastises Senpai for his failure to ensure that the art club has a bright future or some shit. Which prompts me again to ask, does this show do anything new with Senpai besides characters just being mean to him? Good lord, it is the same fucking thing every time, and it has totally not gotten repetitive and bad as time went on. So Nagatoro and friends jump out of the closet to defend Senpai from the art club president. I forgot to mention her name, but that's what I'm going to call her from now on. Not like I'm trying to side with Nagatoro of all people, but she actually makes a good point with how hard Senpai is done with the art club. Now, will this moment stick and have a permanent effect on their relationship in the near future? Of course not, you silly goose. Do you know what show you're watching right now? So the stupid ass gang decides on how they'll be the art club president until Senpai reveals the drawing that got her so popular. Dude, what am I watching, man? I'm sure I don't even need to tell you why this is concerning, let alone illegal, but just note that shit like this is not okay. And the school approved of this? Who the fuck runs this school? And I implore all of you, every single one of you, to stay far away from this show and keep it like that. As of writing this video, there's no news about a season 3 yet, but I hope this shit doesn't get any more continuation because obviously. So they're walking home and more stupid stuff ensues, and I genuinely hate how Nagatoro not getting her way with Senpai is a genuine plot line. Like, can this shit stop being played up as a heartfelt moment? So Nagatoro continues begging Senpai to let her model for him, but he denies her, saying that this is a personal struggle. So how does she react to this? She storms out of the room like a fucking toddler, leaving him to do the art exhibit by himself. Because God forbid I ask you to leave me alone to lock in and focus on my future as a possible artist. God forbid I don't need you up my ass constantly making my life an absolute living hell. This fucking show, for the life of me, cannot differentiate between a heartfelt character moment versus another stupid fucking joke that is both tonally awful and unfunny. To make things even worse, her stupid friends point out that Senpai is being rude to her. Bitch, don't act like you have been constantly rude and tormenting him alongside that literal hellspawn you call Hayase Nagatoro. So the next day, Senpai is painting an actually really good art piece until the art club president comes in and just off the bat says it's awful. What the fuck is bad about it? Nagatoro then comes in and checks on him to then run away after what seems like there was something entirely different going on. The art club president then yells out to Senpai to chase after her. Does this dude only act on other people's orders? So he encounters Nagatoro in the hallway, but she runs away, acting like a little kid having a fucking temper tantrum, with her calling him a stalker. Senpai continues to run after her, and oh man, but he has flashbacks to the very fun memories that they had together. Oh man, it's so sad. I should feel so invested in them as characters and as a romantic couple. This show is so fucking ass. This dude has made it his entire life mission to say he's sorry, but like, he's only doing it because the art club president said to, so honestly, I shouldn't be blaming him. The show frames it as a wholesome scene, and what they did to make us believe that Nagatoro and Senpai should have a connection doesn't work at all. So they meet at the pool, she gets mad and refuses to model for him. She then falls into the pool and drowns. Yes! Let's fucking go! Aw man, she got saved, bummer. They then both eventually fall into the pool and then get out, unfortunately, and then they splash some water on each other. Hooray! And just before I thought it was over, there's a little post-credit scene. Oh boy, how exciting! Let's move on to the last episode of this season. So the culture festival is here or whatever, and Senpai walks with the art club president and somehow notices a charm that she has of Nagatoro. How did he notice that? It was literally nowhere near in sight. Everyone is then out in the hallway to where the quote, Toro cats are performing their dance that apparently made them super viral overnight. I don't know. The scene is so awkward, please make it stop. Oh wow, they're mocking the title of the show by having Nagatoro mess around with the boys like she does with Senpai. There's like 14 minutes left of this shit, I'm so relieved. So everyone listens into the art club president as her art piece this year is being taken down. Yeah, I wonder why. One girl even states that the reasoning for why it's being taken down was due to how much unwanted attention it's getting from the boys this year. So So the one last year didn't cause any bad traction at all and still remained fine? That makes sense. Senpai makes his stance on how he feels about everything, and that he's envious of the art club president, and that he needs to develop his own voice. Wow guys, his common sense has finally developed in his little brain! He then states that who he truly wants to draw is Nagatoro. Good lord, I don't have the energy to get mad right now. So they try and convince the school council, I think, to not take it down, and Yoshi even shows them footage of people loving it and some who were taking it seriously. Because that makes total sense that these clearly visible adults are taking this portrait seriously. Especially in front of their children. Does this show have any common sense? Anyway, more stupid shit happens that I don't care to discuss about, and that was Nagatoro Season 1, yay! A completely awful mess that I got way more mad at than I was prior to this. I could definitely say my reaction in the ranking video was completely justified, but oh dear my friends, we still have 12 more episodes to get through. And I bet you can tell through my voice that I'm super excited to talk about Nagatoro Season 2, Second Attack. Or maybe that I'm just super tired. And that, or maybe I'm just in need of some personal sleeper help.
So how do you personally plan to take care of yourself moving forward?
Well, that's kind of hard, really. I have a whole other season to review.
Just think, you're doing this to yourself. Is there a point to all this?
I've been asking myself that ever since I pressed record.
You know what I mean? There's a point in your life where you just move on.
Let me ask, are you in ever need of just a simple rant?
Typically, no.
Well, that's the thing. I need to talk about why this show is the worst thing humanity has ever created.
Look, I'm not telling you to finish this once and for all, but if it make you happy, I encourage you to go out with a bang.
You know what? That's it. I'm gonna go review Season 2. Maybe it'll change my mind.
He'll never learn.
Guys, literally the first few words of episode 1 is Nagatoro is still torturing Senpai. I'm not making this shit up. How do people like this show? So we begin Season 2 with new characters. Wait, what? Hold on, am I watching the right show here? Surely these can't be new characters. They already seem better than the shit that came before it. So the pink-haired girl gets yelled at for being late, and then she catches the guy character cheating on an exam. Oh gosh, she's pinning him up to a wall. I'm getting flashbacks to Season 1 and oh god damn it, it's only a manga panel of senpais. Well, I shouldn't be shocked. This is Don't Toy With Me Miss Nagatoro after all. So Senpai draws obvious parallels between the guy character and him and the girl with Nagatoro until she makes her entrance. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, but the show looks way more polished than it did beforehand. I wasn't the hugest fan of Season 1's lighting of all things, and some colors were just off in certain areas, but I feel like here it's more laid back and fits more in line with the tone. Maybe that's just me or I'm seeing things, I don't know. Nagatoro makes a comment on how she relates to the pink-haired girl, so you're just evil for the hell of it, and you actively acknowledged it. Cool, man, whatever. Actually, I'm not that shocked considering how you act on a daily basis. So water drips on Nagatoro's shoe, and there's a fake out thinking Senpai is gonna lick the water off just like the guy in the manga. Look, we've already established that these characters have no common sense, but actually, Senpai just brushes it off with a little cloth. That rhymed, by the way. Okay, so this is good so far. Nagatoro isn't being overtly annoying or tormenting him, and Senpai isn't being a submissive little bitch. And Season 2 has a good intro? I hated Season 1's, primarily due to the missing epilepsy warning that was clearly supposed to be there. Plus, it was just moving stills and scenes from the show, just colored over. But here, I actually enjoyed the Season 2 opening. Is Nagatoro Season 2 starting to change my opinion of the show? No, but seriously, Season 1 is the worst piece of shit I have ever seen. And now that I'm re-exploring Season 2, it didn't make me feel pain within the first 5 minutes. And she's back to tormenting him. We're back to this shit. Great. So she trains someone how to talk to people and wacky shenanigans ensue, which eventually cause them to bump into Yoshi and Gamo. Yay, my two favorite characters. And oh my god, but they weren't completely insufferable? So the scene cuts to them in the art room and Nagatoro makes a comment about it being cold in there. Oh, so now they mention the AC? So Nagatoro brought tights to help out with the winter, and now I don't know why she mentions this now considering it looks like an average day of summer outside. But she's most likely talking about the future, so I'll take that. Senpai then makes a comment on how tights aren't really her thing, which prompts Nagatoro to ask if she looks like someone who wears the same thing every day, which, like, you do wear the same thing every day. Senpai then helps Nagatoro put her tights on, and this scene actually had something that made me laugh, which, by the way, is something that I swore for the longest time possible that this show has never made me do. But I guess Senpai saying in his head, "clear your mind," just made me let out a little or that, or my brain's just fully melted, and I laugh at just the simplest of things. What helps with this scene is Nagatoro isn't yelling right off the bat that Senpai is creepy or just being loud in general, and honest to God, for the first time in this show, the romantic tension between these characters is actually felt here. I didn't feel constant pain watching these two interact, and you can tell they've at least grown a tiny bit. I cannot stress enough to you guys though, the tiniest, microscopic, tiniest bit right there. I genuinely can't believe I'm saying something positive about this show, but here we are. And like, Senpai makes a comment and she takes this to heart, but also hasn't made another joke that also caught me off guard. I don't know, but her just saying that Senpai has a tights fetish is just funny, and I guess, I don't know. Again, my brain is probably melted and just laughing for the sake of making up what season 1 was supposed to offer in terms of being a comedy. So the gang eat at a sushi restaurant and are all having a good time, with Nagatoro even, what's this now? She grabs Senpai a plate of amberjack on her own? And she's paying for his food due to his hard work at the culture festival? Dude, what happened? Did the writers decide to lock in with this season? Don't get me wrong, it still has a lot of season 1's issues and nowhere near perfect, but it's on the level of like an average rom-com episode. I still find it weird though that Nagatoro's friends are only nice whenever Nagatoro asks them to. Like, whatever, dude. Yeah, so like, this is the first episode of the show that I actually enjoyed. Crazy how when you actually have character development and actually show that development happening, it makes way for a good time. Does episode 2 continue in that same quality?
Now, Mrs. Plushie, I know your time is important, but I brought you here for a reason, okay? A few days ago, I went to the Zen master and I told him that I wanted something to worry about more than just waiting for rice to cook, because my life has been so boring waiting for rice to cook. But God has never prepared to show me the horrors that lie beyond the rice. I mean, the thing that came out of that rice cooker that's... Listen! That thing called me Senpai! You can never let that thing into your house. It will tear up your sanity bit by bit. It's almost like this whole thing is framed by someone, like some cameraman was just sitting there and framing every single take that happened in this fire. Zen Master! Serves you right, you monster! Wait, who are you? Don't be alarmed. My name is Dr. Chan, and I'm here to rescue you. See, here's the thing. I was once in your shoes, young man. You were. Through a lot of trials and tribulations, I was able to understand one thing in this world that can get me through this insanity. Give it a few days to understand the concept of Zen, and you will defeat Nagatoro. No. There's no way to defeat Nagatoro. It's impossible. She's everywhere. Here's the thing, young man. Nagatoro is not out there. It's in here. And if you can defeat the Nagatoro in here, you can defeat every Nagatoro in everybody's perspectives. There is one more person I need your help to save. He's out there. He's waiting for help. I'll help you. His name is SM Films. You would help me defeat his version of Nagatoro. Yes? Yes, I'll help you. Whatever it takes to destroy Nagatoro, I will not back down. We will liberate the world, one Nagatoro at a time.
Alright, we're getting somewhere. So the art club president walks in on Senpai drawing as per usual. She gives him 2 tickets to the zoo and also admits to getting naked out in public. This woman needs to be checked out. Anyway, so Nagatoro listens in on their conversation and misinterprets a certain word, which makes her confused, which I also kinda laughed at. Either I have the humor of a 13-year-old or this show has finally learned how to balance comedy. Senpai then asks Nagatoro to go to the zoo with him, and when he mentions drawing, she doesn't like it at first, but he kinda dismisses it. But in an actual turn of events, Nagatoro quickly shifts what she said into what Senpai would like to make him feel better. And like, she says that she's been drawing for a fine arts class, so she isn't lying? This here establishes a power dynamic, something season 1 should have done, but I guess not. Making Senpai the one who gets teased, but also has a way to combat it in some sorts. So they arrive at the zoo, and Senpai gives Nagatoro a sketchbook to draw. She screams at the sight of a standing red panda, and then gets visibly upset when she sees Senpai drawing on the bench. Now here's a moment where I would get mad, but her reaction is genuinely understandable. Like, who the hell draws at the zoo? Guys, genuinely, what is going on? Nagatoro actively acknowledges that she's put Senpai through hell. Did these characters just gain common sense in like 2 days? So the pair draw animals together and then head to an eating joint and chill. Nagatoro heads to the bathroom, and then Senpai gets stumbled upon by the jerkwad at the park from that one episode. I don't really care to look back. Him and his girlfriend make fun of the drawing, and then Senpai defends it, and Nagatoro comes back to defend Senpai even further. And she even comforts him after he expresses that he's trying to get better at standing up for himself. Am I watching the same show right now? The two call the day by drawing one last animal, which is a sloth. They then begin drawing, and like, dude, this is genuinely wholesome. Yeah, it does end off on a joke with her drawing Senpai instead, but he acknowledges that it was drawn with love. Oh boy, what adventures will happen in the next one? Okay, that was something. So the episode begins with Nagatoro losing her phone, and then Senpai heads down to the first year floor to give it back to her. He ends up getting help from this one girl as he heads over to class 1C, but can't find Nagatoro anywhere. He ends up hiding in one of those lockers in the class to then see Nagatoro herself walk in, claiming that she had to get tomato juice. Why? That's just disgusting. Even her friends point that out, but hey, if you like that, then that's you. So eventually her friends ask her what kind of guy she's into, and she replies with, I don't know, someone who's fun to hang out with? And Senpai, who is listening to the conversation, thinks back to all the times he had with Nagatoro, and they're all times that she straight up tortured him. I'm too tired to get mad, you guys. The only one I could see being a fun memory is the zoo, which like, that happened yesterday in universe, I think. So Nagatoro eventually finds him in there, and he hands her phone back, and I don't know, but this was a cute little interaction, I guess. I'm gonna point these out because this is something season 1 should have done from the start. Finally, these characters are interacting like how they should be in a rom-com. So the school marathon is happening, and everyone begins the run until they see the art club president, who is dressed like, why? Nagatoro and her friends join Senpai as they task themselves to beat the art club president. Senpai sprains his ankle on top of the injury he sustained while practicing the night before, so Nagatoro grabs him, and then they do this together. He then begins to debate with himself about why Nagatoro acts like she does on a regular basis. Yes, you heard that right. It took him this long to realize. Actually, I think he's brought that up, but this is the first time like he's actually taking it seriously. So he hops on Nagatoro's back to help win the race, but then her friends join her, and they all come together to beat the art club president in the race. But they end up just getting disqualified instead. Okay, that's something. So then it cuts to Senpai wondering why Nagatoro hasn't been texting him, so he stumbles in on Yoshi and Gamo, and they just say she's at home sick. Oh boy, we got a sick episode coming up. The episode then ends with the reveal of Nagatoro's sister. I wonder what wacky shenanigans are coming up. You can't be in a rom-com without the sick episode. So Senpai walks into Nagatoro's house with her sister bringing him some tea. Nagatoro wakes up and is surprised that Senpai is at her house, along with her sister, embarrassing her. I like the interaction between Senpai and her sister though. It feels like a real conversation without it ever getting too comedic. Which, by the way, this show suffers from. So after some more embarrassment, Senpai and Nagatoro eat up in her room. She shares her spoon with him until her sister barges in. After a threat, I think, from her sister, he continues to eat with Nagatoro. She then busts out the same video game that they played all those episodes ago. All those awful episodes ago. Anyway, they play the same game as before, and Nagatoro challenges him by saying that if he wins, she'll tell him one of her secrets. Oh boy, I wonder what this could be. So Senpai asks Nagatoro if he can call her by her first name, and then she responds with a simple yes, but then takes it back thinking that he has to earn it. Look, I'm all for cute character moments and all, but this is just kind of overdoing the whole point of a cute moment. Still adorable, but just it feels like it's trying too hard to have that effect. And the episode ends off with Senpai drawing Nagatoro and a fake out, along with him sneezing. Wow, this was a decent little episode. Is Nagatoro truly peak and I've just been blind to how good it is? No, obviously not. But season 2, I will admit, has made a comeback in some way, shape, or form. So good on you, show. This was a short little recap because I honestly was just kind of enjoying it too much to write about it, but this is all I had to say about it. Anyway, next episode. So Senpai and Nagatoro are walking outside when she tugs on his sleeve, and then she pulls out a post on her phone detailing the top things that get a guy's attention. They then go on one-on-one until they accidentally hold hands. Oh my goodness, it finally happened, but they end up just getting spotted by her friends and their time is ruined. I still think the show has the issue of romantic moments being ruined by a joke or a character, but this season has been doing it less than I've noticed. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a new character. We got Senpai's mom? Senpai is sick and she mentions that she has to go on a business trip or something, but could cancel for his condition. His mom is super sweet and asks him if he's sure that he can take care of himself, to which he replies that he'll be fine. So truth be told guys, but this episode is just the average sick episode. Again, I mentioned that the last episode is the typical sick episode, but this is more in line with the others that I've watched before. Anyway, it plays out fairly straightforward with even more cute moments between the two, and ending off with Nagatoro and Senpai's mom meeting. I didn't really stop to write anything either for this one because I just don't have anything to say, or I could have possibly just really enjoyed this episode and forgot to write about it, but who knows? No, but seriously though, as awful as season 1 was, this season has completely turned itself around. Like I said, it does have some issues carrying over from last season, but it has greatly improved. Mainly the character moments are developing, and you could tell that just by looking at their interactions. Sure, Nagatoro still teases him, but not as much and not as annoying as this time around. I never thought it would come to this, but season 2 is actually enjoyable so far, and we're halfway through, so let's see if it can keep the same quality. 'Tis the season, gamers. It's like March 3rd as I'm writing this. Nagatoro and her sister are talking about what she should get Senpai for Christmas, and I don't know if it took me this long to realize, but we didn't actually begin in that godforsaken art room. I think it was about time we ditched that and actually begin the episode not in that room. I don't know if the episodes prior had a different opening because I low-key forgot. Guys, season 2 is decent and all, but I just want to be done with this video so bad. Anyway, Senpai and Nagatoro are holding hands. What? No! Yo, this is crazy! Wait. Kieran, stop! I'm caring about these characters?
Oh no, this can't be.
No! Get a hold of yourself! So the both of them look at the Christmas tree and, oh, it was just a dream. Okay. As they're walking, Gamo greets both of them and asks if they can come into her office. Hey, at least it's a new location. So they all talk about Christmas plans, and Gamo is holding an all-nighter karaoke. But Nagatoro and Senpai instead are very nervous with one another, because they got each other a gift for the holiday. Senpai tries to come up with a plan on how to give it to her until the art club president comes out of the closet, naked. I don't know, man. After avoiding many obstacles, they give each other their gifts, and damn it, I find it both funny and cute how they both got each other scarves. The moment is sweet, and Nagatoro doesn't tease him, which therefore ruins the tension of the scene. She does, however, do it when they're walking back, but there the vibe of the scene wasn't played up for a super cute moment, but rather a typical funny moment. So the next day, they both arrive at a local shrine and welcome each other into the new year, and Nagatoro is getting a job as a priestess. More cute moments ensue, and a joke about Senpai being a stalker genuinely made me laugh out loud. The episode ends off with a fake out, but a promising one. Let's continue. Oh, hold on, guys. My dog just came into my room. Hi, puppy. What you doing? Okay, so in today's episode, Senpai is greeted by Nagatoro in the art room again. Yay, we're beginning here. Wonderful. Senpai is thinking of wearing contacts, but is nervous about them. It's okay, Senpai. I was actually kind of nervous about my first time with contact lenses, though. Mainly because I don't like shit in my eye, but who does, honestly? Eventually, he gets them in with the help of Nagatoro. Then the scene cuts to them at a ski resort. Okay. Look, I get that's the whole point of the episode, but that quick cut was just super jarring and abrupt to me. Maybe I'm just used to the show's quick plots for each segment, considering season 2 isn't structured the same as the previous season. In season 1, each episode was split into different segments into 12 episodes. Meanwhile, this season has just the regular 23-minute episodes with a plot and typical stuff. Although you can still see where each segment begins and ends, so I don't know exactly. It's just kind of weird to me. Senpai and these two guys who just randomly appear to be his friends, which which, like, where did they come from? Senpai has been shown to primarily be a loner, so this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So Nagatoro and Senpai go on a ski lift, and then actually go skiing themselves. She then teaches him how to ski, but then he fails almost every time. After some help, he tries to prove himself until he fails in the process. What a totally great finish to this arc of him trying to learn how to ski. The episode then ends off with Senpai wondering what Nagatoro plans for the future. This episode was the first boring and uninteresting one in season 2 thus far. Like, I almost fell asleep in the middle of it, all because it was just so boring. For the majority of the season though, I feel like they've been balancing each plot point well enough, at least for this show standards, for the runtime they got, but this one was just kinda bad. Hey, at least this season can maybe pick up the pace again, something I gave up on in like episode 3 of last season. So Nagatoro and Senpai are chilling in the art room again, as she models for him again. So they spend some time together until Senpai notices a stance that he's seen before, but Nagatoro kinda keeps quiet about it, with even her friends wondering what her deal is. Later on though, Senpai wonders about if Nagatoro has history with the sport of judo, so he heads down to a gym that's run by Gamo, because this high school student runs a gym. Actually, you know what? Good for her. So Senpai persuades Nagatoro into training him. Oh, my dog's getting down. Picking a spot, Grumpy? So Senpai persuades Nagatoro into training him, so they train a lot with tons of remarks from Nagatoro on Senpai's style of fighting, and he just stands there and takes the hits from her. He even makes a comment on how he can't get up because she's heavy, and she takes offense to this for some reason, even though you are as skinny as a twig. And like, she even acknowledges that she's small, so like, what was the point of getting angry? Just when I thought this show was getting good, man. They then walk home together, and it's a super cute moment and stuff, and the episode ends. Hooray! Oh wait, actually, there's a post-credit scene of Senpai and the art club president training for his upcoming tournament. And if it wasn't obvious enough yet, then the entire joke surrounding the art club president is... You know what? Actually, just watch the show if you want to get what I'm talking about. So they train, and Nagatoro comes in on them and gets mad. Yay, hooray! Truth be told, but this episode wasn't bad, actually. I know the tone of my voice is signaling that I'm over this, which I am for sure, but at least I'm not absolutely despising it, so that's something. Senpai's whole arc in this episode doesn't make a whole lot of sense, kind of like with a lot of other characters, and I see the point of him wanting to get closer to Nagatoro and all, but like, I didn't see it in this way. 3 more episodes till we're done, guys. We can do this. So, this episode picks up right after where we last left off, and Senpai is training for his upcoming match. Yo, we got a continuing arc for this character? How marvelous! Anyway, we see everyone at the judo tournament, and the blonde-haired girl, who I only care to now call Sakura, just for time's sake, and she makes a very strange comment about being a top. Can I just be done already? One thing I absolutely hate right now is the implication of Senpai's new friends. Like, they talk about last year and hanging out with him, and the show has stated that Senpai and Nagatoro's relationship has gone on for about a year now, even when it was stated that Senpai didn't have any friends whatsoever and was a loner. So the inclusion of these friends don't make any sense narratively whatsoever, and just feel like an ass pull to not make Nagatoro the only person that Senpai can play off of. Hey, at least it's millions of times better than Gojo's character progression in Dress Up Darling, so that's something to be proud of. Nagatoro then takes a break outside before facing her opponent, and then Senpai goes to check up on her. At first, she denies what's really wrong until she asks Senpai if he can promise not to laugh at her backstory. And like, considering how many times you've laughed at him in his weakest moments, it's only fitting that he laughs at whatever you say, right? She gives her lame backstory and talks about how the girl she thought was pretty bad at judo when she first began, but slowly but surely got better over time, eventually beating Nagatoro in the process, which made her thought that she would never win against her ever again. Wait, so all of the times that Nagatoro won as the other girl was getting better at the sport, the one time that she won made Nagatoro all of a sudden think that she was never gonna win anymore, and now that girl represents all of Japan? My brain is broken, you guys. I can't think right now. So Senpai does his match and ultimately loses, even with all that build-up in training. Okay, sure, man. So then Nagatoro fights the girl and then she ends up losing as well, something I genuinely did not expect to happen. I thought she was going to win, and then I'd have to talk about the fact that Nagatoro always wins and Senpai doesn't, but here she actually loses her match. Way to subvert my expectations, show. So that means the show is peak fiction. No, absolutely not. And in this episode, Senpai is practicing oil brushes or something, and Nagatoro once again models for him. And then he gives her a massage or something. And then Senpai's old student barges in the room. She explains that back in middle school, Senpai would teach her how to do art. And big fucking shocker, but Nagatoro gets jealous. Oh boy, we're doing one of those plot lines. I quite literally have nothing to say about this episode because the pacing is so overwhelmingly fast. I swear to God, I look down to write and then the credits are rolling. Don't get me wrong, I want it to end sooner, but pacing is something that kind of matters in a piece of media. So where exactly am I wrong in that sentence? The episode overall is just kind of whatever. I'm gonna keep this kind of quick and just say it wasn't infuriating or anything, but yeah, I'm tired. Anyway, next episode. So the pressure's on about Senpai taking Nagatoro out on a date, and eventually the art club president arrives on her bike to say that it's been a while since they've last interacted. Dude, it's literally been like less than a week. What are you talking about? A little afterwards, Senpai and Nagatoro walk together at night, and he asks her out on a date to the aquarium. Wow, finally something worth the build-up. The whole scene is actually kind of wholesome, so I guess, bro. So after some talking from Gamo, Nagatoro doesn't seem to budge at all, so she and Yoshi come down to the conclusion that they have to protect Senpai's virginity. I guess, bro. So they stumble in on that one girl, and Yoshi figures out that she might be suspicious of them, and Gamo says, "She's intimidated of you. You're too pushy. Weren't you the one who stumbled in and spoke very boldly asking for Senpai's whereabouts?" So Senpai and Nagatoro meet up, beginning their day together. Yoshi and Gamo watch from afar, as well as the art club president and her cousin. Oh boy, I wonder what crazy stuff we got planned next. And just like that, the final episode is here. Their date begins, and Nagatoro gives him the rundown of the appearance for a, quote, actual date, with her even saying that Senpai's slouching. He's literally the most upright I've ever seen a human do. You're just saying this to be an asshole. So they spend the day together at the aquarium, and wacky shenanigans ensue, including them getting ice cream. Woohoo! I just realized that rhymed again. Senpai freaks out at the fact that Nagatoro is getting a bite of his ice cream, and like, can you blame him? She has fucking wasabi flavored ice cream. Or it might be literal wasabi on a cone. And like, I love spicy food and all, but bro, come on. Wasabi is just disgusting. Anyway, he protects her from a splash of water at the dolphin show, and he says, "Man, I hope that wasn't inappropriate." What about that was inappropriate? It's crazy that I could be watching Fragrant Flower right now. Eventually, they both go to a beach, and Nagatoro evaluates him on their date, with Yoshi and Gamo watching from afar again. Yeah, bro, I'm totally sure they can't see you from that distance. You're totally in the clear. Nagatoro then offers him options of a hug or a kiss to finish out their date. But then he asks if there's any regulations to hug someone on a beach. Dude, you are on a public beach. There is no rule saying that you can't do that. I get he's a fucking idiot, but God! So they end up not doing anything on the beach after getting interrupted by Gamo and friends. Cool. Nagatoro catches the one girl feeding Senpai, but it's a big misunderstanding. Oh no. They all chat, and Senpai and Nagatoro agree to cook for each other or something. My fucking pain and torment finally ends with them just hugging. Yeah, great fucking work. What I asked and prayed for to finally happen just ends off with a hug. Truly great fucking work. At least season 1 had a kiss on the cheek. At least I got some satisfaction out of the conclusion of their romance. God forbid I ask for something in a fucking rom-com. Holy hell, just let me finish this video already. When looking further into this show, it genuinely hurts me as a filmmaker and movie enjoyer, but also as a rom-com fan. One of my all-time favorite genres in anime ever. And when I witnessed this absolute tragedy, I was baffled at the fact that this could ever pass as an actual series. It hurts because there were actual gaps that could have been filled with proper writing, themes, and so on and so forth. Season 1 is by all means the worst piece of media I have ever witnessed, no doubt. I don't think anything I'll ever watch afterwards will come to that level of atrocity. My anger and hatred was no exaggeration. That was the real deal in terms of how I felt. I've never had something piss me off quite like it, and while it may seem funny at first, I just left season 1 extremely disappointed. And it wasn't even a fun bad, just a god-awful and worthless experience. But, and I mean the biggest but ever, but season 2? was obviously a huge improvement over the last one. Don't get me wrong, it's still bad. The first half was actually kind of manageable to somewhat good, and then the second half just fell completely on its face, and once again I was left cheering that I was done with this show. Not because I was satisfied with the ending, no. Compared to other rom-coms though, this doesn't pale in comparison except for some. But like I stated beforehand, at least the characters in those shows were somewhat entertaining. The characters here were the biggest issue I had with this show, and how each heartfelt and sweet moment between the main duo would just get ruined with a dumb joke or Nagatoro's teasing. I get that's the entire point of the show and all, but you could have done it in a better way to where I wouldn't be feeling constant pain while watching it. You know it's a crazy feat when a show makes you feel physical pain. Hell, the reason why I enjoyed the first half of season 2 was because I saw potential for the characters to grow, but then it just fumbled on itself badly. Hell, you could take season 1 completely out of the picture and just leave season 2 as a standalone 12 episode series. Would it fix the show's problems? No, god no, but it's something. Don't even get me started on the side characters because they are just as, if not equally as worse as the main pair. Yoshi and Gamma were just so awful that I cringed at their very existence. And then the inclusion of Senpai's friends in the middle of season 2 like just came out of nowhere. There's plot inconsistency after plot inconsistency, and it hurts my soul. Now you might be asking, why didn't I do my usual analysis format like I normally do? I think it's pretty clear to say that I couldn't do a cohesive analysis of this show. I think I was too mentally checked out during it, and also I just wanted to review every single episode and just give you my thoughts. I figured it'd be easier to do that, and also like, I just don't think my usual analysis format would fit this show because, I mean, obviously. And I also just couldn't do it. Like I said, I was just defeated at the fact of talking about this piece of shit enough, and I'm totally okay with that. Now again, if this show for some ungodly reason interests you, by all means, go for it. If you're down for a completely awful experience, then this is for you. And just so it doesn't get greenlit for season 3, I hope to do my best to convince you not to watch it. But who knows, maybe it doesn't matter what you do. Because eventually, time will come to an end, and the universe will crumble in itself. And Nagatoro and everything in it will cease to exist. And those pests you call characters of this show, and everything else about it, will be no more. You and me are just two people. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Look at the screen. Yeah. Or maybe we could just be tiny specks in the span of the universe.
And even the tiniest details of "Don't toy with me, Miss Nagatoro" don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, maybe we should just make a Nagatoro live action series. Yes, that would bring in the big bucks. Yes, yes.
Hey. How's he doing?
Well, he hasn't slowed down in the terms of behavior. As a matter of fact, he may be getting worse as we speak.
The Nagatoro voices, they all lie. They all lie.
Well, his vitals are extremely high. It's higher than any patient I've ever seen.
Well, what do you think we should do then?
To figure out a patient's reasoning, we must see into their soul to find the root cause of their behavior.
What exactly do you mean?
I mean, we should look into his mind, or rather this Nagatoro series, in order to understand the reasoning behind this erratic behavior.
Sir, with all due respect, I don't think that's a good idea.
It's not gonna be that bad. Now, let me go on to my little app right here.
Don't say I didn't warn you, Doc.
And with a little touch of this button, we begin the first episode of Nagatoro. Dr. Chan, stop what you're doing this instant. Yes! You need to get off your phone right now! Why exactly would I do such a thing? Because you were about to descend into complete madness. Who even are you? A clone, perhaps? No. I am you from the future. What? No, impossible. Oh no, I assure you, as you're about to witness an entire calamity before your eyes. I was only trying to root out the cause of my patient here. Dr. Chan, that's SM Films in there. Let's save him and get back to our reality. You, delete every tab in history about Nagatoro and never look on it again. Yes, I got it, okay. And you, Dr. Reed, how exactly do you access this intercom? How do you not know how to work the intercom? Don't you work here? Going back in time has its differences. Also, Who's the doctor? Yeah, I don't think doctors work on intercoms for a profession. I swear, I'm gonna...
It's that button over there.
Ah, thank you. SM Films, if you can hear me, I'd like you to listen very carefully. Look, I'm from the future. And I was once in your shoes in the given circumstances. Now, I know this might seem hard for you, but rest assured the Nagatoro curse will be with you no longer. This friend I have right here was able to get rid of Nagatoro once and for all, and I think you can do the same. Yes, believe in what he says, it can be rid of.
How am I supposed to believe anything when I'm seeing two of you right now?
Yeah, he has a point. That is not the point. I didn't want to resort to this, but I have no choice.
You'll never escape me, Senpai.
No!
Senpai.
What did you do to him? I simply blasted some forbidden knowledge into him, and now that knowledge will save his soul. You're really wise for a guy who just shot an anime character in the head. Never mind that. SM Films, are you alright?
God, what did you do to me?
Don't worry about what I did. The fact of the matter is, are you feeling better?
I don't hear the voices anymore.
Well, my work here is done. Brandon, let's get back to our timeline, yeah? Well, I'll see you guys. I hope I really get my rice this time. No, I'm not gonna get my rice this time. I'm gonna get noodles.
Wait, there was so much more I had to ask. Was that God?
Yeah, I have no idea what the heck just happened. SM Films, are you okay there?
Yeah. Can I go home?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Alright, I guess I'll see you guys later. Peace.
I'm gonna go home as well, if that's okay, sir.
Yeah, go ahead and take your day off. I don't know, this day's weird as it is.
For real.
No, but seriously guys, I will never think about this series ever again. And I hope my video gave you a genuine reason to stay as far back from it as you possibly can. I also want to give a big thank you to these people listed below. Their channel links will be in the description and comments as well. I plan to have them in future videos, so stay tuned for some stuff we have in the works. But until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.